Time is relative. No, you didn't just fall into a black hole. I'm speaking somewhat philosophically. If you asked an electron, you'd probably hear a buzzing because electrons can't really speak. But if they did, the trip they take in your laptop from RAM to the processing unit and back 250 million times a second, they'd probably have a different relationship with time as if you asked Methuselah, the 4,800-year-old bristlecone pine in California, which, again, cannot speak unless the Lorax is in town, and then he's their union leader or something. He speaks for them. My relationship with time is somewhat less complicated. I think I can do a whole lot more in a set amount of time than I actually can, and expect time to warp around me rather than the other way around. This, in my experience, has not been the case.
And now for something completely different.
So look, this steering wheel's been through a few iterations now, and this is a perfect example of I wish that I could do things this way the first time instead of doing things the wrong way the first 4 times. So that I tend to start a project where a lot of people usually do, with a simple design that's functional but it's not very aesthetically pleasing, or maybe it's a little bit heavy. My problem is I'll go through and I'll build that entire thing and then start version 2 when I really should start version 2, I don't know, about 30 seconds after designing the first one. So I'm really only running a few heavy power cables and no data lines across the actual connection part, and I'm able to get away with this 7-pin twist connector. It's machined out of billet aluminum for no other reason other than I think it looks cool, and it's really the most practical way to put this all together. You know what's not practical? The gigantic mechanical tachometer and speedometer that sits in the middle of it with servo-driven gears. That's not super practical, but it sure looks cool, which is what counts, I think. Never underestimate my ability to overcomplicate something. I also took a moment to work on the grips. Didn't quite turn out how I was looking for when I scanned it into Blender, but I'm open to suggestions on how to create something a little bit more ergonomic. It's Arizona in July. The iconic hellscape of pavement that it is. I'm stuck in a warehouse that's 109 degrees. If we want to be serious about this, there is a part of this car that was started years ago. One of the upper suspension mounts, I'm sure, came off the original Porsche cart, which I built with basically no plans in the summer of 2020. And more or less, I've been designing parts on this car since then. And I've tinkered with this and tinkered with that. And this is frame number 6, 7, maybe? I've started from scratch many times on this, going from a tube frame to a entirely sheet metal frame, and eventually ending up at the standard bathtub style that is commonplace on 60s Formula 1 cars, like the Lotus 49, which this entire project is loosely based around in the intent that it was one of the few open-wheel cars available in Forza, and I really liked the look of it. Probably gonna mess with the shock mounts a little bit too. That sounds fun. That sounds like a good this evening project. This version hit the sweet spot of being fairly simple to design, fairly simple to manufacture, mostly being laser cut aluminum sheet, laser pre-cut bulkheads. I tossed a few chromoly tubes in there that run the full length of the car, just as a security measure if I did my math wrong on things coming apart. An emphasis on bolt-on instead of weld-on, just in case I need to update, change, and modify anything, which I am prone to do. And finally, all of the pre-planning in the world can't prepare you for what it is on the computer screen being a little bit wrong for when it's sitting in front of you. I could have designed this car 8 inches shorter than it was, but the last Porsche cart was a little bit small for me, and so this one is a little bit tall and a little bit long, which I have a preference over, as I am a little bit tall and a little bit long. This is just a cheap manual tube bender. I've had it for years, never had a really good way to hang on to it, so I always just put a piece of tube, and this is the front bumper of the Jeep. It works pretty well.
I heard a ringing bell this morning, and it woke me from a dream. And in that dream I heard a warning, saying leave the rest, take only what you need. So keep on singing to those who listen, 'cause you can make it on your own. Time goes slowly, the world gets lonely when you got no one on your side. You gotta love one another, sister and brother, 'cause you only got one ride. I heard the falling rain this evening, and it put me in a dream. And I got that old time feeling, a little rest is all we really need. So keep on singing to those.
So this rear plate that holds the rear inboard shocks was a bit of a late addition to the design, but I had the room behind the engine and I needed someplace to put the shocks, since with my suspension design they don't really fit anywhere else. So I knew the wishbones were going to be made out of aluminum, and then it was really easy to draw up something in sheet metal. And the really nice thing about Send Cut Send is I can just upload a step file of the sheet metal parts and don't need to do drawings or anything like that. And I just select the material that I need, and about a week and a half later these showed up on my front doorstep. being that everything's tabbed, slot, and pre-bent, it welds together like a dream. I want to give a huge shout out to Senketsen for supporting the channel and sending over a few parts like this. If you would, there's a link in the description below that if you're planning on ordering any sheet metal parts or need their services at all, it helps the channel out a lot if you use my link. So obviously we're doing some custom body work, and I needed a large format 3D printer. I bought a Modix Big Meter, which is a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter print volume. And to its credit, it has printed something that is large. I have many things to say about this printer that I'll probably go over in a whole entire separate video because I think there's a lot of things that could be refined on it, but ultimately all the parts are there to extrude plastic into larger plastic. I have some ideas on how to improve the reliability, and I've already done a few things to solve some of the, I think, notes that I have. The concept is to print this out of ASA and then skin it with carbon fiber, basically attaching a couple of layers of carbon fiber to the actual layer of ASA in order to give it the strength that it needs to stay in one piece. Oh yeah, I got a new lathe. I had the full intention of making an entire video about this, but when I went to pick it up, it had been freshly oiled and basically perfectly maintained its entire life, so there really wasn't anything to fix or do to it. So It's a Sheldon 11.5 inch from roughly the mid-50s, and it makes very nice chips. I'm kind of copying the single point A-arms that the Lotus 49 originally had. I'm still using the Porsche hubs that had McPherson struts, so I'm using the same adapter to run between them, and a Moog ball joint up there at the top, which is overkill for the amount of weight that I have, but if I ever design front hubs, I'll go through and make them a little bit smaller and more efficient. But at the moment, these are overbuilt out of chromoly, and they'll work perfectly fine.
This is so weird and so unnecessary. Look at we both are breathing.
So there's a new poster on my wall. There's also a couple of new stickers on my toolbox that I think are pretty cool. If you're interested in any of this and want to support the channel, there's a link in the description below where you can buy some stickers and t-shirts and keychains and other cool stuff that I've been working on. As always, don't feel obligated, but I really appreciate the support. While I have you on the line, one of the things I'd love to get some input on is the wheel and tire situation on this car. I'm not thrilled about running conversion spacers between my Porsche hubs and Catfish Camaro wheels, not to mention that the offset on them is not ideal. Sticking with the theme of 60s Formula One, and with the understanding that I need to clear Porsche brakes, which I believe have a minimum of 17 or 18 inch wheels, but I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Well, I think that'll do it for this video. I'm working as fast as I can, but it takes a lot of time, and I accomplished a lot. I finished nothing, which that's not the story of my life. I do update on a day-to-day stuff a little bit more over on Instagram if you want to follow me over there. If not, totally cool. And yeah, as always, I appreciate the support. Check out the links to merch down below. Check out Send Cut Send down below. And please like, subscribe, comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. And thank you guys very much for watching. I want to be clear, this is a terrible idea, and I'm kind of upset at myself for trying it, but anything for the bit.